We are here today at Samsung KX, and we are going to be showing you something a little bit different today, but I'm going to leave it over to you to introduce it.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be making, well, first let me introduce myself. My name is Johnny Kyunghwo. I'm an influencer, content creator, mostly specializing in fermentation, and today we're going to be making a Korean sort of like seasonal ferment, and it's called naba kimchi. It's a type of kimchi. You might know kimchi, like the one that you get all the time, the red, spicy cabbage kimchi. Well, kimchi is actually like really broad. There's tons of different types of kimchi. And this is naba kimchi, which is more like a water-based briny kimchi. So today I figured we'll make one because it's pretty simple to make, easy, only it's done in a couple days. And there's loads of like fun ways to use it as well. So
Yeah, I'm going to learn a lot today. I'm sure a lot of you at home are going to learn a lot today. I'm G, by the way. Nice to meet you out there. But yeah, do you want to show us something you like about the devices? We'll be showing you everything on the Galaxy Z Fold6s today, which are here. Beautiful. Mine's in pink. Ta-da. Yours is in...
I got a blue one.
And a blue one. A beautiful blue one. But yeah, is there anything you want to show us on it?
So one of the features I've been using on this is the auto-translate feature.
Very, very good.
I mean, I can speak Korean, but my Korean's not amazing. So sometimes it does help to translate. And I'm always translating stuff anyway when I'm looking stuff up or like listening to stuff like videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so the auto-translate feature on the new Fold6 is great. I use it all the time. And let me just demonstrate.
Yeah, so one of the new features on the AI, Galaxy AI, is an interpreter, and it's really, really cool. So we'll show you how you use it in real time.
Let me quickly just... So, if I fold this, and then you should be able to see... Can you see on the back?
Other side. It's all right, yep.
See on the back there?
I can see it here on the screen, on the back.
So if I'm going to do my best to talk Korean. 안녕하세요. 제 이름은 존이고요. 오늘은 제가 여러분에게 나바 김치를 만들어 주겠습니다.
So, your name is John. Today you're going to be making nambak kimchi. Ta-da! And it shows right on here. It's really cool. And now it's in real time as well. Thanks everyone. Thank you, thank you. Don't applaud us. It's Galaxy AI, okay? Not us.
Fantastic.
So yeah, do you want to get started?
So, yeah, the first thing to do is I need to make the brine per se. And that needs to sit for a few minutes, and which works out perfect because we need to cut up some stuff as well.
Okay.
I've just got bottled water here. You want to use bottled water or filtered water. I want to try avoid using tap water because tap water has stuff in it to like keep it clean, which is fine if you let it sit for a few minutes or a few hours or a day and then use it, but preferably bottled spring water or filtered water.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know.
At the moment, don't really need to like measure anything, not being too accurate just yet, but I'm just going to add enough of this water to a bowl, and then I've also got, this is Korean chili flakes or gochugaru, and then in here is just garlic and ginger. So the garlic and the ginger have both been crushed or minced. I've just blitzed the ginger in a food processor, and it's just as easy as dumping it all in.
Easy peasy. If you want me to write anything down, by the way, I have my notes up here. We also have Note Assist, makes it super easy and simple for me to just jot stuff down for you if you need it. I'm here.
I'm going to add a little bit more water. So we don't actually need to take note of stuff just yet. In a second, we'll need to. So I'm just going to add all that together in this bowl and then give it a mix.
Nice.
And that will just sit for a few minutes while we do all of this stuff over here. So we're just going to switch space.
Around.
So over here I've got chilies, green onions or spring onions, it doesn't really matter,
Love spring onions.
and a daikon radish.
Okay.
So the daikon radish I've peeled already. These I've already washed and then peeled the outside layers and then cut off. Sometimes the top of these can be a bit like sad. Wilted. I just cut those off. And then some green chilies. And these are spicy Korean-style green chilies. But you can use any chilies you really want.
Does that mean they're like extra spicy? Or?
Want to try one?
Oh, no, I'm really bad with spice. I've tried to make myself better with it, but I'm just awful with spice.
I thought I was not very good with spice, but it turns out I'm actually better than I expected.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see.
I'm going to cut the daikon radish up into. Well, I'm taking reference off of the cabbage, which I've already prepared earlier. Salted it, well, cut it up, salted it, and then rinsed it off to get rid of all the salt.
Okay.
And once you salt it, it becomes really soft. And that's what
you
you do.
salt it and then rinse it.
Yeah, because you want to get rid of all
Yeah.
the salt. The salt is literally just used to make it like.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm gonna try and cut sizes that will work well with that. So similar sizes. So I'll just cut this into thirds that way. And then just thin slices. I don't know if you can kind of see how big that is.
Yeah.
Not too big, not too small, not too thin,
right.
not too thick. It's a nice bite.
That cuts really nicely. It's really
It's a
satisfying.
pretty good knife, actually. And then the end pieces, you're never going to get the end pieces too perfect, so it doesn't really matter. You can throw those in.
Use everything you've got, basically.
Yes. And then I've just got little bowls here to keep everything together.
Nice.
We're just going to put everything in these little bowls, and then at the end, we can start assembling our jar.
Keeps it nice and organized.
Yep,
Always good to have an organized kitchen. Mine's definitely organized at home. For sure.
Especially when you're fermenting. You want to keep things organized and fairly clean.
So while you're chopping that, do you want to tell us a bit, how did you get into pickling stuff?
Well, it kind of... Well, I am half Korean, and it's a big part of Korean food culture. In Korea, we have pretty harsh winters. So in order to make things last during the winter, you can't really grow stuff in the winter. So a lot of Korean food is fermented in order to preserve it over winters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so for me, my entire life has always been eating fermented foods. Right? Like even a lot of you guys probably eat a lot of fermented food. Things like alcohol, beer, it's all fermented.
Yeah.
Cheeses, everything is fermented. Quickly, for the green onions as well, I'm just going to be cutting these into just small little bite-sized pieces like that. And I'm going to use the white parts and the green parts.
Yeah, I never realized that of Korea, but it makes so much sense. And it's really good for you as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's great for your gut health as well. But for me personally, I got into it through my content creating.
Okay.
I started off mostly doing just general Korean food, and then, I've got to do kimchi, right?
Yeah,
I've got to do some of these things. So
obviously.
I did that, and then those videos just did so well that I just kept doing it, and I kind of worked myself into the niche as well. But then at the same time, I was really interested in it as well, because I studied biology at a higher level when I was in high school. So I kind of had the fundamental understanding of how all this stuff works. Yeah, and then it just turns out tons of people are into it as well. What definitely helped was during COVID, there was kind of a trend of like health foods, fermented foods.
Yeah.
And then at least within England, I was sort of like the go-to person for it, I guess.
Yeah.
On top of Korean food.
I'm sure you taught a lot of people over here in England, because...
I'm always getting, always getting comments of people saying that they've learned so much from watching my videos,
cool,
or it's like inspired them, or it's like demystified fermentation, because a lot of people think it's dangerous.
Yeah.
You've got to be like hospital level clean to do it, but
it's not the case.
we're going to do this here.
Yeah,
and
right
it's gonna
now.
be totally fine. I guarantee it'll be totally fine. I'm just going to give this another mix.
The amount you're saying that makes me feel like it might not be totally fine. It's definitely going to be totally
It'll be
fine.
fine. Everything will be just fine. Okay, so here's where I need your help taking some notes. If you can, we can just swap space real quick.
Swapping around.
We're going to start assembling things, and this is where we need to start being a bit more careful with measuring, taking weight. Because if you don't add enough, you run the risk of things not fermenting very well, or the B word, botulism, which a lot of people are scared of, which is really not that big of a deal. It's like a 1 in a million type.
Okay.
But if you add too much salt, it's just too salty, and that's not pleasant at all.
So this has to be very specific,
Yes.
number-based.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
got
so
it.
we're going for something called a lacto fermentation, because it's going to create lactic acid, which generally you want to use between 2 to 5% salt.
Okay.
And we're going to calculate that. But first, we need to know how much, what our initial number is to calculate how
Okay,
much salt
got
we
it.
need. So I'm going to start adding things, starting off with these. And then, so yeah, it's kind of a fun little like build your own ferment type thing. So we
Cute.
can just add a bit of cabbage.
Is there a number you're aiming for?
Oh yeah, I should probably do that. My bad.
You're welcome, look. I'll be the
Open
chef here.
So we're zeroed out, jar on, zeroed out. We can start adding things. And I like to add kind of like an equal amount of everything.
Okay.
Except for the chilies. The chilies you can,
Am I writing any of this down?
not
Not
quite
yet.
yet.
Okay,
I'll give
okay,
you a
okay.
number in a minute.
Okay, okay. I didn't want to miss anything.
Don't worry too much just yet.
I'm so ready for my like one job to write everything down. Makes me feel important.
I mean, you could start off by writing down the title,
Okay.
which is the name, Nabak Kimchi, N-A-B-A-K.
N-A-E. I'm someone that reads it out loud when I write it. I'm sorry about that. Kimchi. Okay, there's my really good handwriting, guys. But don't
perfect.
worry, we're going to show you something in a bit.
So, next step, this might get a little bit messy. So,
Mm-hmm.
right now we've got 312 grams of this. Just, yeah, you can write it down for fun. There you go.
Got it?
And then I need to use this, but I'm not going to keep any of the sediment in here. So I
Okay.
brought myself a little sieve. Finer the better. And we're going to pour this out into here, but catching all the bits.
It's such a pretty color.
Love a good red ferment. Kimchi.
Yeah, you haven't
is-
spilled any as well. I'm very impressed.
It's all about being careful.
Yeah.
So you can pack a bit more into here, but I want to pack a little bit less because I want a bit more brine.
Okay.
Because I like to use the brine more than the actual bits in here.
Mm.
Let that drip
Oh my
off.
gosh, you've got that like spot on. Like that is literally right at the line if you can't see.
I'd hope I'm good at this.
Yeah, I know, yeah. You're like, done this a few times before.
Okay, so here's where I need to write this down. This is the weight without the jar,
Okay.
853 grams.
853 grams.
And I think I'm going to go for a 3% brine.
Ooh,
So 3%
3%.
brine. Let's write brine as well, just to be sure.
How do I spell that? Thank you.
Okay, so what we need to do is multiply 853 by 0.03.
Okay, so I need to bring up a calculator for
calculator.
that. Or I can just pretend and, you know.
I mean, even I wouldn't know how to do that off the top of my head.
All right, let me just bring up the calculator.
And I like to just keep all these things written down because when you've got something fermenting, you've got to leave it for like a few days. And when you've got as many things as me, like
That's
going on
smart.
at home, you want
Yeah.
to start labeling things and like taking notes and stuff. So I'm always like writing this stuff down.
What am I
You
doing?
got- so 853, I think
Yep.
it was,
It was.
multiplied
Multiply
by 0.03.
0.03, and
Because-
that is
25.59.
Nine.
25.59. I'm just going to round that down to 25 because
Okay.
we're still within that 2 to 5% range. 0.03 is just 3%.
okay. Got ya.
If you're doing 4%, it's 0.04, 5%, 0.05. But as long as we're working within that range, it's totally fine to kind of like round up or down.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So 25 grams. If you want to write down 25 grams of salt, then.
Yep. I got you.
So I'm using a sea salt. This is actually a Korean sea salt, but you do not want to use like a table salt because sometimes those can contain chemicals that can inhibit fermentation,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. So this is a natural Korean sea salt. You can use English sea salt, it's totally fine, as long as, or even like the Himalayan rock salt, anything that's completely natural with no other
Okay.
chemicals. You just check the back of the label, just see that it says 100% salt,
Yeah,
of thing.
and
So,
then that's good to go.
so I'm going to add 25 grams of this salt now. And there's like different methods to this. I've also done this where I've added the salt to the water first and then added it.
Okay.
But this way, I just find it's so much easier because you take one jar and you just start throwing everything in.
And
So,
we like it easier.
Yep.
It's way better.
My goal is to make fermentation as easy as possible for everyone.
I have some questions from the audience, if you
Yes.
don't mind me asking.
Go ahead.
What is something that you really want to ferment? And also, I have a question. What's the difference between pickling and fermenting? That's my question.
So pickling, like when you see a pickle, like we've got a pickle over here,
Ta-da. Here's
pickling
one here.
is preserving through acidity. So you're using vinegar and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You're not actually creating like a probiotic, healthy, preserved food. Whereas fermentation is preservation of food through the use of like bacteria or like natural yeasts and bacteria. So we're not using anything. We're not using any vinegars. We're just using salt because the salt helps create an environment that inhibits bad bacteria, but the good bacteria can still grow.
Okay.
So that's why we're adding 2% salt, because anything below 2% allows that bad bacteria to grow, which makes it riskier.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so it's just different types of food preservation. One using vinegar, one using natural yeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of science behind it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's still there's a lot of science, and the science behind it can be very basic.
Okay.
Or you can go really, really in depth with it. Like
I got it, yeah.
haven't.
Pick and choose.
When I was in university, I wasn't studying anything about it.
Yeah.
I was studying marketing, but then I would use all my database access to look up fermentation, like kimchi
That's
and all that
so
kind of
good.
stuff. So
Yeah. And what is something you really want to ferment?
as soon as I head back to Korea, I am going to be making my own soy sauce, and
Ooh.
I've already done it before, but I want to do it like in a different method. So
Okay.
I've bought like fungal spores. I'm going to be
Wow.
buying like organic soybeans, and it's going to take me months, if not years, to make.
Wow.
So that's going to be
Are
something.
you going to be documenting that? Can they
It's-
watch this?
It's
out
all
there?
going to be on my social media.
Okay, there you go.
Otherwise, I
Oh,
wouldn't
give you a
do
plug.
this. I wouldn't do this for myself. And then the other thing I want to do, because it's coming into summertime, and summertime in Korea is anchovy season.
Oh.
And where I live, like right outside my parents' house, is actually an anchovy fishing company.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I can get fresh anchovies. So I'm planning to make fish sauce,
Oh, wow.
which is going to be fun because it's going to smell really,
Yeah,
really bad.
nice. Perfect.
I'm just going to quickly
Yep.
carry on here. So I've put the salt in, I've closed the lid. All that's left now is to just give it a good shake. And sometimes these flip-top jars can leak.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing, because when you're fermenting with flip-top jars like this, a lot of people are worried about pressure buildup.
Okay.
But these flip-top jars are tight enough to keep things from like really like escaping too easily, but then loose enough that if it doesn't build up too much pressure. So you won't get like an explosion. You don't
Like
have
a
to worry
good
about these.
amount.
Yeah. So I call it like self-burping, because when you burp
Okay.
something, just to release the gas.
Oh, you have to burp it.
Yeah, I've given that a mix, given it a shake. Everything's in there. We'll just close that up.
Okay. Oh, I
That's-
smell it.
that's-
It smells good.
It smells good, right?
Yeah.
It smells really good. Because it's not too strong with the ginger and the garlic. It's
Yeah.
just sort of like an essence, like a fragrance.
Yeah, it smells really good. It's making me hungry.
So yeah, this is finished now. If I was at home, I would put this in a dark, cool spot,
Okay.
like a cupboard or a cupboard below or a cupboard above. If you have filled it up quite high up, you might want to put a little dish underneath just to catch any like little drippings that
Okay.
might come out. I like to check these every day by just opening them up a little bit and then closing them, and you
Yep.
can keep an eye. What you'll see is sometimes bubbles will start forming up, kind of like when you open a soda, like open a
Yeah.
fizzy drink. And that is a clear sign you've got fermentation, which
Oh, okay.
once you see gas and bubbles forming, it's like you don't have to worry about anything bad happening.
yeah, that's
It's
really good to know.
going well.
Yeah.
So
So bubbles, good.
bubbles are good. Yeah. So this is one that I made. Oh, can you hear that?
Ta-da.
I don't know if you heard that.
No.
but
Oh,
let's
the
see.
fizzle.
Yeah. So this has been fermenting now for like maybe 4 days.
Okay.
I did make this in preparation.
Nice.
and it has been fermenting very well. So I'm
Just
going
tell
to
everyone
open
we've
this.
got to wait 4 days, you know. Wait for
Yep.
this one to ferment.
4 days is short.
4 days live stream.
4 days is really short. I'm like,
Is it?
for me, that's like, okay, I can finish this off in 4 days. I'm happy,
Okay,
yeah.
wow.
So
What's
I'm
like
gonna,
the average, would you say?
for me, my average is really skewed though, because I've
Okay.
got some that have gone for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
And then
wow.
some of them are like 2 days.
That's dedication. You are loyal. This
So
is
what
a
is the
loyal
average
man.
between there? Like a year? 2
Yeah.
years? Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Damn, wow, so 4 days is really quick.
So I'm going to open this one now, and maybe you want to get a close up on this because we've got quite a bit of gas forming inside. I don't know if
Okay,
you can
yeah.
see little bubbles. I didn't put those there.
Yeah.
I didn't fake this. This is not fake. So I'm going to open this up, and maybe, luckily, we'll get a little pop.
ASMR.
There you go.
Sorry, I probably just ruined it with my gasp.
I think we got that.
That was good.
And then, yeah, I don't know if you can see that there. Can you see all those?
Oh, yeah. Little bubble
Little
there.
bubbles there.
Little bubble.
Oh, and one thing I almost forgot. We might want to note the date that we've.
Oh,
And
yes.
the date today is it's the
Yeah, that's the hardest thing
Yeah.
about this whole live stream is figuring out what the date is.
18th of July.
Okay. 18th of July. 2024.
Awesome. And so now I guess you can
Oh, I just
turn that into a.
Yep. So what I'm going to do here is, with Note Assist, it's one thing I use all the time for content creation, writing stuff down. As you can see, my handwriting isn't the neatest. But you can now literally just convert it to text, and it will literally convert everything to text. And also, other stuff you can do is you can format it, you can even translate it. So if you wanted to send it to
Yeah.
someone in Korea, and you've written it all in English, you can literally press this button here, translates it all. And you can draw images on it, and it will create the image for you in AI. So if you want a little bit of like visual, I'm a visual learner.
I had to play around with the AI image stuff. It's really fun.
It's cool,
It's
isn't
really
it? So yeah, that's Note Assist. Super handy.
And you always want to note this stuff down because if you have a batch that's particularly tasty, you want all the specifics like that because you want to be able to recreate it.
Of course, yeah.
And the date, obviously, because you don't want anything, especially with this style of kimchi, you don't really want to let this go too long.
Okay.
And you can actually have this one fresh as well. A lot of people do enjoy it like that, but anywhere up to like a week is like a good amount of time.
Okay.
And then when you serve it, ideally put it in the fridge before you serve it, have it nice and cold.
You can make it super like personable to what you prefer.
Yes, so I've also mixed in, you can mix in all sorts of fruits as well, like seasonal stuff. You
Ooh,
can
okay.
really like mix this up, like make it your own. There's the thing about like kimchi and like food in Korea is that there's no one way to make anything
Yeah.
in Korea because Korea food is like so regional. You can have a kimchi in Seoul, or around Seoul, where there's not much coastal, there's not much fishing, and it will be very, very like mostly like vegetable based.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you can go down to the coast where I live, and you can have a kimchi there, and it's really, really fishy
Oh,
because
okay.
they use a lot of fish and fish sauces and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. It's
Yeah, that's so cool to know.
so drastic.
Yeah, I never would have realized that.
Yeah. So this is done now. This has been, like I said, 4 days-ish. And we could give this a try as well if you want to. Do you want to try?
Yeah. I'll try. Is
Okay.
it spicy? How spicy? What's the
shouldn't
spice
be-
levels we talking about?
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, you give us a try.
It's fine.
Okay,
Fine.
it's fine.
Go ahead
So
and,
take one of these bits. You might have some chewing ASMR here.
so that's a piece of daikon radish.
That was good.
I was really happy with how this one turned out. But one of the ways we're going to use this,
That's
Today.
really good.
usually,
And it's not that spicy.
it's
And
not
for me
right.
to say that, like, I'm a
Yeah.
low spice girl.
It's a good,
It's a good amount because it leaves like the
yeah,
taste of spice, but it's not like,
it's a good like gateway into spice,
yeah.
right?
And that's what I need.
And in Korea, like usually this time of year, you'd get a little bowl. When you go to like a Korean restaurant and stuff, you get a little bowl on the side where this is served mostly with the brine, with the little couple of the bits
Yeah.
in there as well. And that's one way Koreans like to enjoy it. But I found one way to actually have these, to use the brine, is in drinks.
Oh, okay.
Drinks of the fun kind, so cocktails. And I'm not really a cocktail person in any way at all. So
Okay.
I kind of just made these up based off of like other things that I've seen online. And one of the ones I did want to try, if we can get ice over here as well, please.
Yep, I'll go get you that.
Yep.
I'll get ice. BRB.
Got
Ice.
it?
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Is this enough
Awesome.
ice?
Oh, perfect.
There you go.
And this first one is kind of like a play on, I don't know if you know what I think it's called a michelada.
No,
Sort of like
not very good with cocktails either.
a Mexican sort
Okay.
of beer with usually like tomato sauce and like a hot sauce.
Oh,
Not tomato,
interesting.
Tomato like juice
Yep.
with a bit of hot sauce, like
Okay.
lime and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of the same thing, but instead of like hot sauce and tomato juice, we're just going to use the brine.
Ah.
So yeah, we're going to just use this one again. We'll just take some of this brine. And you don't want to actually add too much of it. Like literally just like a couple tablespoons, because it's just to get the little bit of this tangy saltiness. I'm going to quickly come over here and
Oh, let me go over here.
let me just roll this.
And while you chop, I've got some more questions for you
Yes.
from online. If you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Would you say, is that one specific thing or like one like country's food, or how would you?
Ooh.
'Cause that changes
Let's do
my-
specific thing.
Ooh.
Sorry, that's like makes it
Yeah,
a bit
I need
harder,
to think.
doesn't it?
I'm a big fan of in Korea, Korean knife cut noodles,
Oh, okay.
because I mean I really enjoy the texture, really enjoy the taste, but there's so many different types of it
Yeah.
that I can like I don't
Oh,
think I can
so
get
it's like a
bored of it.
cheat code.
Yeah,
Because you can
'cause
make
there's
it with
different
it.
types of it.
That's
Yeah.
really smart.
So I'm gonna just squeeze a little bit of lime in here as well. Lime, oop. And then we've just got a Mexican beer,
Ah.
and we'll just top this up. And I don't know if you've ever heard of tahin.
I have,
A Mexican
yes.
spice.
Okay.
I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on top here.
Interesting. One thing I was going to do is I'm actually gluten-free. So we're going to circle to search, another feature that is over here on the Fold6, and we're going to circle to search to see if it's gluten-free. So what I can do here is just hold this down, give it a circle, and it will come up here. And you can actually also add stuff on the search bar here. So I'm going to type in gluten-free, bish bash bosh, and it will tell us right here. It is kosher, sugar-free, gluten-free, no artificial colors. Just like that.
We're just gonna just add a like tiny, tiny, tiny bit on top here. Just enough to go.
Ooh.
There you go. And then, do you wanna try it first, or?
You can try it first. I don't drink alcohol, but
Okay.
I'll
no problem.
trust you.
Okay.
You can drink it all. Is it good?
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, surprised.
Like I had.
Surprised yourself.
If you're into sweet cocktails, like using this stuff to make cocktails is probably not for you.
Okay.
But if you're into like more of like the savory, saltier type, but we can also make another one
Yep.
with just pineapple juice,
Oh, see, I can drink that one.
right? Exactly. So kind of along the same lines.
Okay.
We're gonna just add a little bit of brine. Sorry, I don't have any ice again, so we'll have to make this room temp. Don't want to get a bit
I
of.
might be able to get more ice if you want it, or
Would that be possible?
yeah. Any more ice over there? Thank you.
And then the same thing again with the lime.
What's it in?
We'll give her a second. Just another slice of lime, and then we'll just add that.
Thank you. I got ice.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Put that in there.
Might as well make it proper. Oh, damn, you're brave.
Okay. We've got a bit of lime again. I am not a cocktail person, so these are
Yeah.
kind of just like made up on the spot. I'm sure there is
It's so
someone
quick
out
to
there.
do, though. Like, it's good to know
Yeah.
the amount of stuff you can do with making such a big
Yeah.
batch like that.
And so this is a mocktail version as well. So I'm just going to top the rest of this up with the pineapple juice. And then we'll finish it again with a bit of...
Our gluten-free tahini.
Maybe you want to give that one a try?
Yeah.
Let me just give it a quick swirl, make sure everything's mixed up.
Thank you very much. Oh, that is good.
Right?
It's refreshing.
But it's like, it's not too salty.
No,
not
not
too spicy, but
at
it just
all.
adds a little bit of that savoriness to it.
It doesn't taste like pineapple juice, which is really weird.
Right?
Like, it's got a really nice taste to it. You guys are going to have to try it at home to find out. We'll just sit here and drink our drinks now. We'll be back.
Something like a morning beer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, are we done with all the pickling?
Yes.
All right.
Now?
So, we've got some more questions. We can take some out to the crowd and stuff if anyone's got questions for us. Or we can answer some online, either or. Does anyone in the crowd have any questions? Oh, yeah. This guy here. We have a mic for you.
We have a microphone coming.
Yeah.
Super cool. Hello.
Hi.
So, how long would you have to keep something like fermenting to eventually make it alcoholic, or does it not? Asking for a friend, of course.
Oh, no worries. So something like this, it's more about, it needs to have more sugar in it because alcohol is made from sugar. Yeast turns sugar into alcohol. So I would, if you wanted to turn this into alcohol, I would, one, add more sugar to it. You can get a little like tool which will tell you how much sugar is in something, like it's called a hydrometer. And then you would also want to use an actual, like a beer yeast or a wine yeast, because relying on the wild yeasts that are in here, you run the risk of this going sour, or well, it's sour already, basically turning into vinegar, because vinegar is basically alcohol gone bad.
Oh.
So that's why you want to be, making alcohol, you have to be much more clean about it. Like this, we can be a little bit not as clean because we're essentially using wild yeasts. When you're making alcohol, you're using specific yeast that you want to cultivate. So that's when you have to be disinfecting things, sanitizing stuff, keeping your hands real clean, even going as far as maybe even giving the vegetables and everything like a quick blanch just to kill any yeast that's on the outside.
Okay.
But you have given me a weird idea.
There you go.
Yeah, I would encourage you to try it, because when you're making alcohol, if it goes bad, a bad alcohol is just a good vinegar.
Oh, wow.
much, yeah.
That's so good. So it's hard to go wrong with making something.
Yeah.
Like, you can literally just make it into whatever. If it goes
That's, I've made plenty of beers, wines, and stuff,
Yeah.
which I've kind of forgotten about.
wrong. Not meant
Found
to be.
it, yeah, found it like a year later, and it's just an amazing vinegar.
Oh, wow. That's really cool to know. Thank you for your question. Anyone else? Yeah?
Hi.
Oh, Mike.
There we go. Thank you. Looking at your channel, you must have like hundreds and hundreds of recipes. How do you keep track of them? How do you find like the recipe that you're looking for when you have so many that you've archived?
So, I mean, I'm not the most organized person. I'm also not much of a write things down person. So, for me, it's like the videos and voice memos and all that kind of stuff is how I keep stuff. I have just like a big folder with like 700 videos in there. But I do some general categorizing, whether it's like drinks or Korean stuff or like Western stuff. But for the most part, it is kind of a mess. I use if I forget to label something, I generally go back onto my social media, find the video, look at the date that I made it, and that's how I kind of use that as reference. I'm really not the most organized person as well.
Yeah. I feel you. I'm the same. But you can use Note Assist now.
Yeah,
It's
so
going to
the
be perfect.
voice memo, like all that assisting stuff is
Yeah.
going to be really good for me, because especially when you get your hands dirty, you can't really like, touch things. I'm always using like the voice assistant
Yeah.
as well to like help me take notes and do calculations and that kind of
Yeah, it's so good. I think one of the good things with the voice assist is that you can actually summarize it at the end as well. So you can make it formal if
Yes.
you're trying to seem professional,
When
or
I'm
you can make
like-
it informal. It's so
when I'm
good.
like in the moment, like things get real serious and intense.
Yeah.
So I don't have time to like format things. So
Exactly,
it's nice
yeah.
to
You don't want
back
to go
and
through and
then-
edit it all,
yeah.
and now it just does it for you like this. Doop.
It's like a chef in the kitchen. You just
Yeah.
shout things out
Yeah,
and
literally.
expect something to catch it.
That's what this does.
It's perfect.
Okay, any more questions? Yeah?
Hi.
Lady over here.
Hi, I might have missed this, but you know when you've decided that it was a 3% brine,
Yes.
how do you get to that decision, or is it always a 3%?
I do tend to like play around with things a bit. So generally 2 to 5%. If you don't want to wait too long, you go for a lower percentage. If you have the time to wait a bit more, or if you want it to be a bit more like, if you want it to store longer term, that's when you go higher percentage. Something like this is not supposed to be like a long-term ferment. So you want to stay lower on the salt percentage. But yeah.
So for something like this, how long would it last, or does it not have out of?
It's edible for a while. Enjoyable is a different question. Yeah. But then that's why like something like a miso paste has a very, very high salt percentage because it's preserved for a long, long time.
Okay,
Yep.
good to know. Any other questions or? Yeah.
Gee, I'm wondering, what is your favorite feature on the Galaxy Z Fold6?
Oh, good question. Honestly, I've mentioned it so many times, but it has to be note assist. Because I generally am a scribbler. I'll scribble down all my ideas, all my content stuff, and then when I send it over, it only makes sense to me, whereas you've got to normally send it to companies, other people to read it. And now I can just make it look like I'm professional, and that's always the little,
It always looks more professional to scribble stuff down.
Yeah. And I also love, and I use it all the time. I don't know how much you've like played around with the photo assist. Is now you can just cut out people in the background of your photos. Like if you took a picture here, you could take a picture on your phone, and on the phone just go doop, 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 and it will cut it all out.
Awesome.
And makes it look really nice and neat.
I did play around with the AI photo, the photo assist. I was just kind of messing with my brother.
Yeah.
The AI generates stuff.
Oh,
That was
okay.
really
Yeah.
fun.
It's
Give
so
him, like,
good.
Whole new hairstyle.
Yeah, it's
like,
so good that
putting
you can
hats
just
on
do
him.
it on
Yeah.
your phone now. You don't
It's
have to
so
have like
easy.
extra apps and exactly easy.
Real
Yeah. So that's got to be my favorite. Any others or?
Okay, over here.
Yeah.
So you said you have hundreds and hundreds of recipes. How
Yeah.
do you like get inspired for new recipes? Like, does it not get to a point where you're just like, what do I?
I think we did have an example of one just now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So it's like for me, and even yesterday I was talking with someone of Burmese descent, and even they were just bringing up stuff that they grew up eating, and they were like showing me stuff, and I was like, it was one of them was like a dish using tea leaves as well. So I was like, well, that sounds really fun because I want to ferment the tea leaves and then do that. But then even over here as well, I'm always looking for like stuff that is a bit more ridiculous because in the end it's like, gets views. So I'm getting inspiration all over the place, and even when I'm just out and about in Korea, even in England, just eating stuff, I'll come across like a side dish that I've never seen before, take a picture of it, or I'll ask the owner or whoever's the server or something what is this, and then I'll note that down, and then I'll go back and I'll do all my research. I'll usually look things up in Korean as well. That's usually where I start off, and my Korean isn't too great. So actually one of the things that came like in handy on the new phone is the website, AI website translate.
Yes, yeah.
Because I was using that to translate these websites from Korean to English.
Yeah.
And it goes from like a Korean website to basically looking like a completely natural English website.
Yeah, it's
So that was
really, really
amazing.
good. I think that's one of the things that I always say is that it just makes it so easy that it's
Yeah.
all in a
And
device. It's literally 2 clicks. You don't have to go into another app or download something that you don't know is dodgy, So it just
It
makes it super easy.
Worked so seamlessly for me that I forgot that I was on a Korean website.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good bit of marketing
I was
there.
really confused for a second.
Yeah,
because it was like,
yeah.
"We're coming out in English. But
Yeah, no, they've done so well with it all.
I'm getting inspiration all over the place. Even if like the most goofiest stuff, it's all coming from like people or like things that I see. Sometimes I'll see something and I'll tie that back to something else. Of like, what if I took this and this, put them together and made like something else? Like I made a kimchi soda
Oh.
because I basically just blended up some kimchi
Okay.
and then added some ginger beer starter, made a kimchi soda, and that turned out amazing as
Oh,
well.
I was going to say, was it
Like
good?
surprisingly amazing.
Yeah, that's really
You could
good.
do that with this actually. If you took this brine, put it in a bottle,
Yeah.
maybe like a teaspoon of sugar and close that bottle, it would turn into a soda.
Yeah, it's so interesting how many things you can just do with this one jar.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like,
It's
so
so much
many
fun.
things. It's so cool. Any other questions? Or yeah,
Right.
over here.
Yeah, I know you create a lot of content about fermentation experiment, but what are some of the failures you've experienced?
Ooh. One of the worst things I ever made was a Korean rice wine called makgeolli,
Oh, okay.
but I added coconut to it, and it ended up just first I got a sniff of it and it was pretty bad. Sometimes these things can smell a bit funky, but they taste great. Had a whiff of it, it was horrible. Had a taste of it, tasted like vomit.
Oh no.
Really, yeah, I would stay away from doing coconut and rice wines.
Well, you only learn one way, you know. You got to try to find out.
So yeah, that's probably the worst thing I've ever made. That was 2 years ago now, and I still think about it.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
that's
yeah,
why I
you
was
brought
able
it
to
up
bring
now
that
in his head.
Why I was able to bring that up so fast, because it's always in the back of my head,
Oh, bless.
haunting me.
Any other questions or yeah? All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm sure you've learned a lot. I've learned a lot here. Thank you so much for coming to today, Johnny.
Thank you for
we
having
appreciate
me.
it a lot. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.